Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 33-year veteran comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing game writer, artist, editor, and publisher. And, as always, the review crew is with me, John Norris, and
hello,
YK Asher, Christopher.
Hello.
Oh, it's been a heck of a day and a heck of a week.
It has been, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's
We've
just
been busy with everything but comics and reviews.
That's about it. It's every time you turn around, there's something, and it's like, what the heck? We got to do. Hey, stop it! But oh well, it's time for that. And I don't know if you saw him just tap me on the shoulder. But of course, after I just went and fed him before the show, but because my dad's not, he went to bed early, I guess. He's nowhere to be found, so you know where the cat's going to be.
Right. Good old Pop went to bed. The Midnight Monster.
Yeah. So let's see what we got. We've got some crazy stuff to talk about. We had a bunch of stuff that we were going to review that we didn't get around to. So we have enough stuff to review, but
right? Yeah.
It's going to be
just like push it to next week.
Yeah. That's about where it's been. So let's see what we got. Creature Commandos, number 6 of 6. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, this is Creature Commandos number 6, $4.99, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Published DC Comics, writer David Dastmalchian. Yeah, and I didn't realize he was the writer, which is kind of cool. So, Jesus Hervas, colorist Alex Guillemets, letterer Ferran Delgado, cover artist Tirso, editor Katie Kubert, genre horror superhero, released April 9th, 2025. What it is about: the final showdown between the Commandos and Brainiac. Are they headed to the Delaware State Fair? The fair may not be ready for this freak show, but the team is more than ready to take down Brainiac and end this mission once and for all. Or so they think.
Okay, what did I think? Well, that was underwhelming. Especially the ending. Oh, yay. Zatanna wishes you to live in the House of Mystery while DC puts the concept on ice for another few years. Ay, caramba. I didn't care for this miniseries. While the first 3 issues were average, slightly above average at 3.5 stars, looking back on what we did with the reviews. The second half of the mini really faltered with the 2.5, a 3, and now another drop off into the 2s. I expect better writing from Dastmalchian and usually get it when he's doing his own property, Count Crowley, but here it was just lackluster in my opinion. What did you think, Chris?
I actually did like the writing. The art was meh for me, especially the coloring, which, I've ranted about before. Still the same problems as would be expected by the time someone likes us to see the books on shelves. They're 3 to 6 months ahead. So changing a style or fixing certain aspects of a book typically won't be addressed until the next arc or miniseries. Nature of the schedule. But, all in all, it was an okay series. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my copy there. What did I do with it? Here it is. I gave it, you gave it a 3.5 for this issue and 3 overall. I gave it a 2.5 this issue and a 3 for overall. So it's a pretty average comic in general.
Yeah, I feel they could have done this a lot better. And not just, make it like the cartoon. I just feel like they could have just done so much more with this.
Yeah, I mean,
although I did like Lucky, I thought I enjoyed Lucky, Frankenstein.
So. Yeah. Here's some of the artwork, and it's okay, but it's all kind of very subdued color palette. It's all the same, 3 shades of red, purple, and blues.
Right.
It kind of like, it's not that it's bad, but then you go to the next thing where you get the fair, and it's still mostly blues and reds and purples.
Yeah, there's zero change in color palette.
It's like, you got to do something to like give us something here. It's now you got a little bit of change in color palette, but it's we get it at nighttime. We get certain things, but it just I don't know,
Yeah, it was underwhelming.
very underwhelming. And I mean, could you like please give Zatanna something other than a blank stare look? I mean, come on.
Right.
So little things like that, just kind of like, it's kind of a letdown. But other than that, it wasn't like a complete botch or anything. It was just, we've seen better from these people. We want better.
Would you say it was a mash?
No.
A monster mash?
No.
The monster mash.
It couldn't be a monster mash because it wasn't the Graveyard Smash. If it was a 5-star, then it would be the monster mash. More like, I don't know.
It's the monster trash.
No. More like the zombie trip up. Seeing there's all zombies in the book and stuff, but anyway.
And to be honest, Brainiac should have just like wiped the floor with them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next.
Hey, Joey.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah, that's me, Mr. Corny.
Yep. He should be in Iowa instead of Michigan.
Right. I walk in the room and the dogs are like, popcorn.
All right. Our next book is Destroying Angel Lumen, number 1. It is 1 of 4. It is $10. It's 56 pages. That's part of why it's $10. The other reason is because it's mostly crowdfunded and self-distributed, so it's a little bit more pricey for that reason. Bounce House Comics, writer-artist Tony McMillan, supernatural action adventure, released March 23rd, 2025. What is it about? The story of Esteban Vela continues in this 4-issue ongoing. I put that in quotations because it's limited series, but it's continuing limited series. Esteban is in the realm of the Noctera, gathering energy for himself to battle dark forces. And in this story, it looks like he's about to really enter the fray. And while he's not inexperienced, he's been beaten and hurt before. So is he really ready to face the unknown, or will the unknown destroy him? This is a little bit of an esoteric title. But he does try to get out there. That's for sure, in his art style and what he does. Story's fun, engaging. It was worth the $10. He has a very nice production value on the book. You can see it's a lot thicker. It won't even fold flat. It's so thick. They didn't do a good pressing.
Nope.
Do it to get it to go flat, but
now the question is that gonna like break the cover eventually?
I don't think so.
Huh.
You can see it's very high gloss paper.
Yeah,
that
is an interesting art style.
I've had Tony on the show before.
I kind of dig it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I kind of dig it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically going to be that facing and fighting himself and going up against the enemy funhouse.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's the art for that, and I like it. Okay, I'm enjoying it so far. Hopefully, it'll stay on the same course. I gave it 4 out of 5 for the first issue. We'll see where it goes.
So you like the writing in this one?
Writing's okay. Tony is a slow burn on most of his writing, so you kind of have to give it a little while with him a little bit. usually by halfway through the second issue, he starts really starting to get the steam on it. He's but his visual storytelling is strong. So
yeah. Although that character on the front cover looks like his ankle's broken.
yeah, doesn't it?
It's like, oh God, that's gotta hurt. Oh
yeah. Which ankle? Both.
Right.
Yeah, he does do some funky figure placement and layouts and stuff. That's why I say
yeah, it's almost reminiscent of Keith. Sam Keith, just a little bit,
Well, he's into Sam Keith. He's into Miller and other people as well, and he's got a lot of interesting choices for his influences. So
yeah.
Okay, our next one is Green Lantern Corps number 3 for $3.99. Publisher DC Comics, writer Jeremy Adams and Morgan Hampton, or Jeremy Adams plots and Morgan Hampton scripts. Who knows what's going on? Fernando Pasurin is the penciler. Claire Albert is the inker, with covers by Arif Prianto and lettering by Dave Sharp. Cover artist Pasurin and Albert. I don't know if these are the actual correct cover artists or not. I didn't check, but that's who was there last time. So it's probably the same people. So if I got other cover artists wrong or missed anybody, I apologize. Anyway, editors Paul Kaminsky, Kathleen Wisniewski, Marquis Draper, and Jillian Grant. Genre SF Superhero, released April 9th, 2025. What is it about? Sad boys of the galaxy, gather round. The Sorrow Lantern and his fractal soldiers are on the march, and Razor or Kilowog will need to use all their willpower to escape alive. Meanwhile, the Thanagar is revealed after being cracked in two, like an egg, during the Civil Corps storyline. But what mystery lies at the center? All this plus John and Hawkwoman, John Stewart, and Hawkwoman fight for their lives aboard Atrocitus' ship. It's a Red Lantern pirate adventure across the galaxy. What did I think? I find it bewildering how other reviewers praise Jeremy Adams' writing while bitching about the very things that he writes. Sad boys. Hello, Proud Boys. You say you don't want any far-right extremism represented in your books, and why are you okay with this? Is it because this is this weird, they're the villains, but you're supposed to feel sympathy for them nonsense? It's not good writing. I'm sorry. The last two issues I didn't think were particularly good in writing. And with that, yeah, I'm done with this series. 3 mediocre, 3-star and lower books is enough. I give this issue 2 stars, and I gave the overall first 3 issues 3 stars. And that's basically only because the first one was good enough to start with to get a 4. If it hadn't gotten that, it would have been like a 2.5.
The Sad Boys, huh?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he went there.
Well, the character is like the Sorrow Lantern. So since everybody's got sorrow, they're sad, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. I mean, the art's okay, but it's not enough to really hold you for more than that. Again, it's just, why does everybody use all the same color palette on everything?
Because it's the Red Lanterns. So if there's going to be a color and a ring for every freaking emotion and feeling that humans can possibly have, I'm waiting for the orgasm lanterns.
I mean, it's like, okay, this is at the center of, this is what was at the center of Thanagar, is Horus the God.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But he's like, well, why should I even help you now that your planet's destroyed? You failed. I'm like, whatever. It was a cool concept, but I just wasn't. There was just too much other stuff going on. I was like, where's the story?
Mm-hmm.
But oh well. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Or we should have like Taco Bell poop lanterns.
Taco Bell poop lantern? Okay.
Well, if they're gonna go for every single feeling and emotion and turn it into a color and a ring, Angie's in the background going, Christopher.
Well, first off, what are you going to do when you get the? I'm trying to think of the word. We're just going to call ourselves prismatic lanterns.
There you go.
And everybody's got every line of every power of iron. Oh, dude.
Right.
Yeah, this is why I'm kind of like get rid of all the power lanterns except for Joe Moline and have her like rebuild it from just the
Right.
one, And I've said that before. That's why, because I'm so sick of this nonsense, and I'd like this. Somebody should like just bean Jeff Johns for coming up with that crappy ass concept. It's like, just because you grew up in the 70s and knew what mood rings were does not mean that's what the hell we needed in this comic book.
Exactly, right? Their only weakness is bad reviews.
Yes. Anyway, let's let John talk now.
All right. Herculoids #2, publisher Dynamite, writer Tom Snigoski, artist Craig Rousseau, color Omi Rimalante Jr., lettering the ever-present Jeff Eckleberry.
ever present and effervescent.
Cover artist Francesco Mattina, which is what you're looking at here. Philippe Massafera, Joseph Michael Linsner, Bjorn Berens, and others. Editor Joseph Rybant. Genre adventure, fantasy, sci-fi. Release date March 19th, 2025. Rating teen. All right. So listen very carefully to this synopsis. So what it's about. Beware the enemy within. The defenders of planet Amzot return for the second spectacular installment of their all-new adventures. Following last issue's attack by off-world raiders, the Herculoids face a new challenge from an unexpected direction, the very ground beneath their feet. Behold, the coming of the Mole Men. Writer Tom Snigoski of Vampirella and Hellboy and artist Craig Rousseau, Batman Beyond Gotham Adventures, dig deep into Amzot's secrets with the Herculoids #2, and the resulting riches are wrapped in the finest of covers from Francesco Mattina, Linsner, Berens, Massafera, and the legendary creator of the Goon, Eric Powell. Okay. First things first, let's talk about that synopsis for a moment, shall we? So that is the official synopsis for this issue as posted on Dynamite's website and everywhere else I looked. And whoever wrote that synopsis seems to have misunderstood the assignment because it is very, very misleading. So, spoiler alert. The Mole Men are nowhere to be found in this issue. They are only hinted at in the very last panel, which of course indicates they will be in the next issue, and that is quite annoying. So this issue picks up right where the first one left off, with Quintel and the Raiders having been badly defeated by the Herculoids, but Quintel has security protocols for just such an occasion, and the battle quickly resumes. Snigoski and Rousseau waste no time getting to the action, but they allow for a great moment in the middle where, after Dorno gets captured, Dorno, of course, is the son, Tara tells Xandor to have some faith in their son and to wait and see what he can do, and Dorno proves up to the challenge, and that was very cool to see. There are some very nice panels featuring Zoc, and Rousseau once again does a great job with the line work for the most part. And as we'll probably see in a moment, there are several panels in this issue where the humans have no faces at all. And I'm not sure if it's because they're drawn at a smaller scale in those panels, but I mean, we've seen plenty of comics that have humans drawn at a smaller scale that still, you can tell what their facial expressions are. But I mean, surely he could have given them some sort of facial expressions, and it just looks weird to me. And unfortunately, it brings an otherwise very solid issue down a bit for me. Again, annoying. But I did learn something from reading this issue. Apparently, Zoc is a female. I did not know this.
Neither did I.
Because he is not. He is clearly a male in a TV series, and I guess they had to sex change something in these damn comics. Roll my eyes. I agree pretty much with everything you said, John. Every criticism you made was right on the money, and for my money, this is far and away the worst work I have ever seen from Craig Rousseau. Very disappointing. And you guys know I didn't give a great score to the first issue. This issue has me wanting to take the entire run and pulp it. Now, you gave a 4.5 last time for issue number 1.
Yep.
You're giving it a 3.5.
Yep.
That's a reasonable drop. I gave it a 3.5. I'm dropping it down to a 2. And that's because I'm just being nice. It really deserves a 1.
So let me get this straight. The son gets abducted, right?
He gets
captured.
And mom and dad are just like, he'll be fine.
No.
Wait.
No,
that's part of the art. You will show.
Yeah.
Just give us a sec. There you go.
Yep.
He's about ready to go. He wants to go tell her that, and she's like, "No, just wait. He can do it by himself. Let him get out of his zone." And here's the thing: all these speed. Let me see if I can get it drawn up close here. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Can you see? There's no.
There's zero, nothing on those faces, and I don't understand that at all.
There's no eyeball on Zoc.
And that's just lazy because what are standard Bristol boards, Lewis? 18 by something? Most artists
11,
draw on?
Well, 11 by 17. Some people draw 11 by 14 or 12 by 15. But I don't know if it's laziness or something else going on. I really don't. Because this is not how he normally draws. I am very, and even if it was, as an editor, why are you accepting that?
Right.
Exactly. So there's no call for it.
Absolutely. Well, my only other guess is that this issue was rushed.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just really.
And I would kind of understand if it was just one panel, but I mean, you look across the page and there, it pops up several times in this issue.
See, there they are with no faces again, and yeah, and I hate. Am I wrong to just really hate the lettering that's clear through, on these panels?
See-through? Yeah, I know you don't like that.
I mean, I understand. I mean, to me, it's it's cluttering up the imagery of what's behind the lettering.
Right.
And I can't make out what the hell the lettering is supposed to say because the artwork is showing through the lettering.
Right.
So it's
it could have been rushed because of redrawn, Joey. Yeah, that's possible.
I don't know.
There's a million and one reasons why an issue might get rushed.
Yeah.
And as we all know, shit rolls downhill. So if the penciler's late, then the colorist has 2 days to do it, and then or the inker has 2 days to do it, and then the colorist has 1 day to do it. And
but Craig's doing all the art himself.
Oh yeah, well.
Yeah. So I mean,
there's no excuse.
yes, Ami is doing the coloring, but I mean, Ami does 8 books a month. So I don't think he's got
and he's got like 3 helpers.
He's
got 3 flatters.
I don't think it's almost like here's some flats. Did they cover the faces with the flats and he couldn't figure out how to fix it? Maybe that happened.
That could be.
But anyway, now to be fair to Signosky as a writer, maybe this was a simple mistake and he had a brain fart when he wrote this dialogue in error when he said that Zoc was a girl, as you can see in this panel. But sadly, given today's current culture of everyone and everything being given a sex change, I can't give him the benefit of the doubt. I just can't. I wish I could. And there's just no justification that I can think of for this as a conscious and knowing decision. If I were writing the book, Gloop and Gleep would be your female alien Herculoids if you're going to sex change them.
Right. Or hermaphroditic.
There you go. That would make Gleep a female playmate for Dorno. That makes, okay, they're like a boy and a girl friendship. Okay, cool, And since their species is more of an anemic protoplasmic entity, and they keep doing stupid looks for them on some of these covers to make them look like effeminate Medusa-like entities, as we saw on the cover for this issue, it would have made more logical sense to sex change those characters into female types instead, not the dragon. The only thing I can think of is they're going to have their dragon get pregnant and lay eggs or something, and then the Herculoids have to protect the eggs, or the eggs get stolen, and the Herculoids have to go rescue the Zoc's children or something. The only thing I can think of, and I'm like, please don't go there. But
this would have been better if he would have gone, "Oh, you're a female dragon."
It's like, I'm not. It's like, I just no. I was like not happy with that at all. So that's my last Herculoids for me. I'm done. I'm sorry. And I don't know about you, John, how you feel about it, because I know you're the huge Herculoids fan. So
yeah, I mean it. Like it wasn't a terrible issue, but it was definitely a step down from the first one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if it goes another step down in issue 3, and we're going to review issue 3, at least John is.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to speak on it, I guess, won't we? But okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next one. This is yours, Chris.
All right, Jumpscare number 204, $3.99. Publisher Dark Horse, writer Cullen Bunn, art Danny Lucker, lettering Jim Campbell, editors Daniel Chabon, Chuck Howett-Leese, Foster R. Cubbins. Genre is horror superhero thriller. Released April 9th, 2025. It is about a horror fan turned vigilante. Jumpscare can conjure any weapon from any gore-soaked movie she's watched. Using this power, she becomes a force for, well, quote-unquote good in Empire City, and the world's most popular superhero. Even with all her powers, though, she may not be able to save her estranged sister from the clutches of the mobster-turned-monster Grindhouse, especially with a band of eldritch zealots called the Dismal Concordant standing in her way.
Love the cover. The story was actually an improvement on issue 1. The pacing was good. The reveals were solid. It's like Cullen Bunn actually gives a shit about this particular property. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but so many of his creator-owned properties, I mean, he craps out like 15 to 20 books a month, So it's like, to me, it's like his properties just drag on and on and on, and I'm like, get to the point, would you please? And
right.
He really is on point, and he's giving an A-game effort, and it's like I don't see that from him all that often. So when I'm seeing it, I'm like, hey, okay, cool, Danny Lucker's art is also improved from issue 1, and it was good in issue 1. There's more dynamicism in the figure work. There's better facial expressions. I might say some of his villains' designs were a little bland, but that's really the only criticism I could have of his art. And is it me, or is 8 pages of full-page average for your other titles in a row, 8 pages in a row, in the back of the comic a little bit excessive?
Just a wee bit.
I mean, okay, you didn't break up the pacing of the story and put it all in between the pages. You put it on the back end. okay, cool. But, you're Dark Horse. You have the license for Stranger Things. Why don't you try and get an ad for a real upcoming horror movie or something? Like Hell of a Summer, which just came out in theaters April 4th, 2025. This book came out on April 9th. I mean, come on. It's not like Dark Horse couldn't have connected with the right people when Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things is the guy who wrote and directed and starred in that movie. I think you have connections just to see if you could get some advertising for this. And not just in your one book, but all the books, right?
Right.
Isn't that what marketing and your advertising people, your company's supposed to be doing? I don't get it. How hard is it to get to his agent or his producers, including Jason Bateman, who is clearly a comics fan? See those State Farms commercials lately where he's Bateman?
Yep.
It's such a no-brainer to me. So that it doesn't spoil the story, but it did grate on me a little bit. The story was still good. Chris, go ahead.
I'm still enjoying this series very much. That's funny. The art was definitely
the reason it says still enjoying the series very much and nothing else is because Chris forgot to send me stuff.
I was so busy this week. The art was just fantastic in this book. I love the story. The humor is great. I still love how they put what movie. They come up with some made-up horror movie that the weapon is from.
Right.
The only thing I have to question is I wonder when she's going to start being considered a serial killer, as she's just hacking the shit out of bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And killing them. So I'm wondering if they're going to go there, like where she's eventually the serial killer and the cops are after her.
Yeah. No matter what you do, you live long enough to be the villain in your own story, so that's possible.
I think that's a possible story arc. So.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if it's going to happen in this one though, but yeah. All right, that's fair. Okay, I gave it 4 out of 5. Chris gave it 5 out of 5 because that's what he does. This is like his favorite thing.
This is just a fantastic series. It's very refreshing. So,
yeah. So, okay. John, it's your turn again.
All right. Metamorpho. Yes, I am reviewing a DC title. How about that? So Metamorpho, the Elephant Man, 2024 to the present. This is an ongoing series from DC Comics. Writer Al Ewing. Artists are Steve Lieber on the pencils and inks and Lee Lowridge on colors, lettering of Ferran Delgado. Cover artist are Steve Lieber and Lee Lowridge. Editor Katie Kubert and Sabrina Futch is the associate. Genre superhero. Release date December 26th, 2024 to the present. Rating teen, and they specifically say ages 13 plus. What it's about. To know him is to love him, that fab freak who can change himself into any element in the human body. He's the one and only Rex Mason, alias Metamorpho. But can even he win out against Cyclops, the hairy eyeball of crime that gazes from the top of the pop charts to the lowest depths of evil, and even into the far-off, far-out Ra realm? To find out, the Element Man must survive a hand-picked assassin who can match him change for change. Join us for this covalent bond of friends and foes in the brand new ongoing series from superstar team Al Ewing and Steve Lieber. So I have to say, so this is the first new DC title I have read in a very long time. Just for one reason or another, like, none of the DC books have interested me. And, hearing reviews on Green Lantern Corps and stuff like that have
Right.
only enhanced what
Even the
I've
stuff I
already
love,
felt.
yeah, even the stuff I love has not necessarily clicked with you. That's cool.
Um, but I've always found Metamorpho to be a pretty cool character, and so what I thought of this issue is, of course, Metamorpho debuted in 1965, the creation of Bob Haney and artist Ramona Fradon. Since then, he's had multiple series of his own, and he's been a member of the Outsiders and several incarnations of the Justice League. He's also made film and TV appearances. And while it has been a while since I read the original series, I think that Ewing, Lieber, and Lowridge are doing a great job with this new series so far, and it really does feel like a direct continuation of the original in the best way. Um, it updates the setting to the 21st century, but still retains some of the 60s era lingo, of course, some of which is courtesy of the Mad Mod. Um, the characters, Metamorpho, Sapphire, Simon Stagg, Java, and Element Girl still have the complicated relationships with each other. Java, in particular, that they did a great job with. I thought he had some hilarious lines. And in my opinion, the creative team, they really get the tone right. And both story and art are engaging, so much so that although it was late in the evening when I had time to read the 4 issues released thus far, I read them all in one sitting and completely forgot about the time. So,
Which means if he got lost, hey, that's a good thing, right?
yes.
So, to be fair, I only tried the first 2 issues. I had too much other stuff to read and review. I just couldn't. I do see where you're coming from. I don't necessarily disagree, but at the same time, Ewing is not quite hitting the mark for me. And I have seen a lot better artwork from Steve in the past, Steve Lieber. It's not bad art by any means. It's just I don't think Steve's his best inker. I like other people's inks over stuff better, I think, is all. And I remember the stuff he did when he was in the 90s, when he was a regular pencil for Hawkman for a spell. They were much more detailed, and the inker really spruced him up on top of that. He's got a more simplified, but it's distinct. He's grown in terms of his line weight depth and how he uses spot blacks and other things, and it's become more of a unique stylist than what he did back in the early part of his career. But I just happen to tend to prefer detail personally, as you know. So it's not inappropriate for the series. It's fairly evident that he's trying to pay homage to Ramona Fradon. And she was certainly detailed in her style for her era, but her era was more open and simplistic in the art style. So it is quite well done in that regard. Ewing's story is okay, but I'm not really a Ewing fan, and he doesn't wow me here. But again, I don't disagree with anything you had to say, and I think the team is legitimately trying to keep the spirit of the Fradon era in the work, so I'm going to give him credit for that. Chris?
Yeah, every artist lives long enough to be his own worst enemy. So, yeah, I think that's what happened here. I read it online. I didn't even get all the way through the first issue. Like Raven, not into Al Ewing's art or writing at all. The art does absolutely nothing for me. It was trashing it in the conversation with Raven when he was actually defending it. And while he saw my viewpoint, I see where he was coming from. And he showed me different eras of Lieber art, which the early stuff was pretty fantastic. So, yeah, it was his earlier stuff is much, much better. Also, despise the dual shade effects on the book. What is it with that stuff? It's everywhere nowadays. It's like they all had a meeting and we were like, yeah, we're going to use that dual shade zipatone crap now. Yeah, let's do that.
But let's not do it correctly. Let's just like keep shoving different levels of digital duo shade on it.
Right? Yeah, completely distracts from whatever quality the line art has. The coloring overall was not consistent. Definitely seen better from Lee Lorich as a colorist. And I'm sorry, but the dialogue was hokey.
So, okay, John, you gave it 4.5. I gave it a 3. And, well, Chris gave it a 2. And I think you would have given it a 1 if I hadn't defended it a little bit.
Right.
Kind of ran the gamut here.
So it's quite interesting how all three of us looked at this from completely different perspectives and had different reactions to it.
I gave it a 2 because technically it's a comic book.
It's I mean, I like the cover, but I don't know if we can do that. I'm going to try and blow this up, and if you can see it, that's as big as I can get it. Can you?
Yeah,
see
you can see it there. Yep.
You can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, because that's what he's talking about. Is like the way this is shaded. You can see like the duo shade thing in there, and it doesn't really. It's like it looks weird to him. I understand why it's there, but then there's like these weird color gradations in the legs on Sapphire with the same kind of pattern, and it works up here in the face, okay, but when you start trying to do it everywhere, it just looks weird. So.
I think they all got the same digital, like all of them got a new digital brush pack. They're like, oh, I'm gonna try this out. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So like what we talked about like doing it correctly, like what effect would you be going for to want to use duo shade?
Duo shade should almost never be put on a person or figure unless you're using it specifically for a shadow cast on them from a specific object. Most of the time you want to do shading and dot matrix patterns for your backgrounds and backdrops, in my opinion. Go back to the 70s, look at how Terry Austin used it. Look at how Mike Golden used it. I would say look at how I would say look at how manga uses it a lot, even because I mean manga, it's not in color, so they have to use different levels. But you'll see that they're creating levels of depth with it, not trying to do. Okay, we're going to have this kind of shading on the middle ground of the color, and then a darker, more dynamic or more pronounced one on the darker shading. You don't need that when you're doing it in color,
right? And as far as color comics go, it was also meant to kind of make up for the lack of color palette, the limited color palettes that they had, and the lack of being able to shade with that.
Back then,
so
right?
That's you don't color it in a modern style and then put that on top of it. It just looks weird.
Yeah. So that's what where we're coming from on that. Let's take a quick look at some of the artwork here. Now, it's got good figure work and stuff. He does make a funny comment here, like he said, impossible, Mr. Zagwood could get past me. Everything gets past you, you Neanderthal nincompoop. Just apprehend him. The villain, just punch right into water face. It's kind of like he's punching a water balloon or whatever, or it's like I would have let it been like the liquid metal from the Terminator, and his hand was stuck in the head.
That would have been cool.
But then again, he does something smart in a way. I mean, he just splashes water and drowns them, so to speak. So, and the name Mr. 3. I mean, it's Mr. 3. And Rex is all kind of messed up as well. So,
Yeah, just didn't care for this.
Yeah. The figure work is okay. Sometimes I think some of the facial expressions, like the right here on the right panel on the right side, it just, I know she's trying to or Steve's trying to make her look kind of like flirtatious a little bit and happy-go-lucky, but she looks like a fish woman.
Yeah, the no nose, kind of helps with that. So
yeah, so it's like, yeah, I mean, but it's different, So, but yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, he's inking himself, and he does a lot of brush work in his inks. And when we were looking at the earlier stuff, the inkers were inking him with a tighter crow quills, and I don't know if they were using technical pens or what, but it was just crisper. And the coloring again was kind of weird. It's like, I don't know. He wears a shirt, right? Doesn't he? Metamorpho. I mean, isn't it a shirt and not the color guide split around his neck? The way I've seen it in the past, it's like he's wearing an actual shirt.
No, I don't think it's a shirt. That's a
no,
skin.
it's not a shirt.
Okay, it was just kind of weird to me. That's all, the way it was colored there. But okay, but no biggie. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, here we go, John.
Power Lords, 3 of 3. Publisher Oni Press. Writer Matt Hodson with a story by Dennis Culver. Artists are V. Ken Marion on pencils, and Austin Backley and Matthew Seaborn on inks. Colorist is Andrew Dahlhaus. Lettering is Taylor Esposito of Ghost Glyph Studios. Covers are Dustin Weaver, Salvador LaRocca, Francis Portela, and
Ajit Jokkumar.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
Editor Carl Ballers, designer Winston Gambro, genre sci-fi action adventure, released March 26th, 2025. What it's about. The saga of the Power Lords reaches its epic conclusion. Matt Hodson of Power Rangers.
Oh, John just froze somehow.
Uh-oh, lost him. V. Ken Marion, Green Lanterns, pulls out all the stops in a mind-blowing finale.
Okay. Are you back, John?
Did I go away?
Yeah.
Yes, you froze.
Oh.
Right in the middle of right after you said V.K. Marion.
I didn't notice anything on my end.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay, so anyway, go ahead.
Double E fans talking about these beloved 80s toy icons for decades to come. Adam and Lipa's friendship is put to the test as they struggle to see who will gain ownership of the power jewel. Lipa, acting on the impulses of Arcus and his alliance of evil, will stop at nothing in his pursuit of power as Adam struggles to accept his destiny and rejoin the ranks of the Power Lords. So what I thought, at last the action-packed story comes to an end and it goes out with a bang. For me, the best thing about this issue is how the notion of teamwork is handled for both parties. On the one hand, Adam certainly learns its value, as well as the value of knowing when to follow orders and when to retreat. Savor, who is the tank guy, who is not the brightest of the bunch, is allowed to suggest a plan of action and is complimented when his plan works. Meanwhile, Arcus chastises Griptog for attempting to do the same thing. So once again, like I wouldn't say it was, an outstanding issue, but it's a nicely paced story with nice art. And with this issue, the Nacelverse year 1 comes to a close. Roboforce, Biker Mice from Mars, Sectars, and Power Lords. I've enjoyed the ride. I think it's been fun, and I look forward to seeing where things go from here.
Okay. Well, VK Marion did a nice enough job on the art. I keep looking at those lovely Dustin Weaver covers, which was the first cover we saw, and I just feel cheated. I'm sorry. I want Weaver to do some story in the future, not just covers, The story was concluded reasonably well. All the high points you mentioned, about the story and different aspects of it, I agree with you. I do wish there was more buzz about these books and the re-release of the toys, but it's been practically non-existent. I mean, have you seen anybody else even review these books?
Nope.
No, yeah. Not at all.
And if I were 9 or 12 years old again, this is the stuff I would be all over. Is like Power Lords, not Transformers. I'm sick of Transformers. I'm sick of G.I. Joe and other junk. Like I've seen enough of that. We both gave it 3.5. Chris, did you happen to read it?
I did not get to read this one. I wish I did though, because I kind of enjoyed the one I did read.
Okay, so there's that, and here's some artwork on it. And this is where Griptog is trying to tell him, hey, we need to do certain things. And Arcus is like, are you telling me what to do? And then Adam gets his power jewel back in his forehead, and he gets his powers back on other panel. And he's like, I'm back. But it's like, okay, if you're back, who's Beethoven?
This is really nice art and quite nice coloring too. So
yeah, the coloring is strong for what it is. I would love to see. I'm not against Ken Marion like being the regular artist on this. I would just like to see Dustin Weaver do something more than just covers.
Right.
I mean, because his stuff is just gorgeous to look at, and I'd love to see a storyline from him.
Right. But, and I'm a big fan of Andrew, so.
Yeah. Alrighty. Our next one is Santos Sisters, number 8 for $5 from American Nature. Writer-artists are Greg and Bake Petrie, and the backup stories by Mark Kapernarov and Josh Pettinger. Genre is superhero action comedy, released March 12th, 2025. What it's about. Don't miss the thrilling conclusion to What Time Is It as Todd's delivery faces a ticking clock. You will deliver 10 o'clocks. 10 o'clock is like the guy in the center there with the weird like clock face jaw there.
So he's supposed to be like the Clock King?
Yeah, or something, But anyway, will he deliver 10 o'clock's package, or will Sergeant Murder and Agent IX ruin his plans? Plus, Dirk's militia battles the unpredictable Crazy 8 Ball, and the city of Monroe's sinister drug trade targets vulnerable senior citizens. What did I think? I got this because Chris and I kept seeing advertisements for this book in the alternate comics, King Cryptid specifically, when we were reviewing them a few weeks back, and we just wanted to know what the heck this thing was. So I happened to come across it in one of my local comic shops, Heroes and Dragons. And I said, well, what the heck? We'll get it. We'll see what it is. And what it is it's essentially Archie Comics meets Watchmen at a PG-13 type of level of story. It results in an extremely goofy but well-crafted comic, actually. But even more fun is their ad pages. And I'm going to show you their ad pages in just a moment. As with the King Cryptid and Spacow ads, when we were talking with Jamie Jones, you guys might remember, there was a bunch of ads that take up space to offset cost of printing and stuff like that. They've got 7 pages of one-ad newspaper-style advertisements in this thing with a whole new slew of books and people that are completely new to me. I really do wish that more indie creators would do this for each other and promote like this. It's really cool. Story was fine. There's a scene with Amber, who's one of the sisters. She's in bed with a boyfriend. They don't do anything inappropriate. They do have her, strategically covered up in all the scenes. But it's just enough to tease her hint, which is just enough to maybe raise the ire of some overprotective parent or anti-comic zealot thinking this is an Archie comic. So I don't think it was necessary to do that in the story. So I'm a little bit about that, but it's not like they did it. It's not like it's a crime, they didn't do anything wrong. Art was great, really does capture that Archie art style. But as I was coming in on the last chapter of the arc and know nothing going in, all I can say is it made me interested enough to get the trade collection from Fantagraphics, depending on the price. I give it 3.5. We're going to take a quick look at some of the art.
Oh, that's really good. Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah.
You can see it's very Archie style.
Yeah, I love it.
And there's
that is just fantastic.
And that's fine, but and I'm going to show you what I mean, because it's not like there's anything. I mean, here's some of the ads.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
They're promoting podcasts, they're promoting comic book stores and barbershops. Pete's Barbershop and Basement of Evil Comics.
Basically, if you've got $10, you can have an ad in our book.
Whatever, yeah. Here's another one of the ads, but I'm not, Toy Box Theater. And you got a little, one of those boxes of links or whatever. And then, the car's kind of goofy looking, a little bit, but it's still within reasonable, right?
Yeah, it's very Archie, yeah.
But, let me get to all right. This is the scene I'm talking about. I mean, technically, yes, you're seeing side boob, but it's not like anything you haven't seen in X-Men back in the 80s.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing.
And then her hair's covering up, boobs on the next panel. So it's like, and then they go to shadows. So it's not like it's really, it's enough to like make someone upset.
Right. Let me grasp my pearls.
Yeah. But other than that, and then, she's like, I had to leave my date for this. I'll teach you. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So, kind of a cool thing. And then, they give you a whole page ad for Mason Turtles.
That's pretty cool.
And then, again, a whole bunch of different things. Panelpunk.com for original art. Cosmic Lion Productions for different comics. The BCW is for like your backing boards and bags. Just a whole bunch of cool stuff in there to look at. And this is actually more fun to look at for me because it just takes me back to my APA days. This is the kind of stuff that used to go in my kind of magazines back when I started. We used to promote everybody that carried us and all stuff like that. So it's very similar to me,
Right. All we're missing is some tough guy kicking sand in a wimp's face.
Yep. So there's some really cool stuff in here, though. But yeah, and then we get into another full page ad with Rex Rain.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then
Helps
it
up
goes
the
into,
page count and yeah, it's a nice filler.
yeah, and then you get into the story about the poor senior citizens being like completely wiped out there. We got to find out what's causing it. What's hurting them.
This seems like it's like really one of those hidden treasures.
Yeah, it kind of is. Now, issues 1 through 5 are collected by Fantagraphics in March. That's what that big. So I'm thinking about looking for that and seeing how much they want for it, just because this is just kind of a cool thing overall. So
Yeah.
and again, I gave it 3.5 based on that little bit, but if it's this good or better when I see a trade and it's all like that, it'll easily get to a 4. Okay, that pretty
The
much.
Raven does not hand out 5s lightly.
No, I don't.
You have to earn. But so when he does give a 5-star, you've earned it.
Right? You better work.
Yes, and let's be honest. Now that we know that Ben's hunting for one,
He's like, I want that 5.
that's the first person in all these years I've been doing this. So I want a 5. I've got to work for it. That was great. But next week, we will finally get to Shudder. Things happened this week, particularly today, that I'm not going to go into. Just we couldn't get everything written up and graphics ready. But Shudder number 21, E-Junkie trade paperback, Secret of the Raven trade paperback, Usagi Yojimbo, what's the name of it? 10,000 Plums, or Plums rather, part 2 of 5. Joe Frankenstein, part 1 and 2. I'm just showing part 1 on there from Graham Nolan's Compass Comics. The Ghost of Matacombe Key number 1 from Graham and Go Compass Comics. And The Space Between, I figured this is a book that you're going to like, Chris, because it's by Danny Lucker.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So that's a graphic novel from Boom, written by Kareem Brecco. So
nice.
We'll check that out as well.
And Joey, I've never heard of Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice,
the book like that.
Well, it's not like that kind of art style, but it's Fire and Ice from the old Justice League. Ice Maiden and the green-haired Fire.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay,
and they're in Smallville now, and actually, I don't really care for that book because the writing isn't anywhere near as smart as the book for this one. But there you go. Because I have actually looked at those because people have asked me to. But yeah. But it's interesting. We'll wait and see what happens though with the and the other thing is with the with DC and Marvel, there's kind of a certain expectation of what I want them to be. Whereas with this is something I don't have expectations of. It's something that they have a little more freedom to do something different with than what corporate comics might have as a result. So
yeah,
whether that's fair or not, that's a little bit of a bias, but that is how I feel about it, and I think it's the way a lot of fans feel about it. So I don't know.
It's no different than having a standard of what Ben and Jerry's ice cream should taste like.
Well, which flavor?
Well, you know what I mean, or like going to like Arby's or some fast food restaurants, having a standard of what that should taste like.
Yeah,
so it's no different.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, that is our books for next week that we're going to be reviewing. Oh, and no, John's not going to be here next week because he's got theater work to take care of.
Yeah, I got rehearsals. I'll be playing keyboards for rent at Village Square Theater in Lexington. So we've got a couple of band rehearsals, and then the week after that is Tech Week, and then May 2nd we start running the show. So
John's going to be on Broadway before we know it.
I'm about to get quite busy.
Yep. Alrighty, so that is next week for our comics, and then tomorrow, the Raven and the CMYK kid, Chris Hall, are going to explore some Marvel territory. The horror! We're talking about Marvel! Oh my god! Will we survive? Well, you're going to have to tune in and find out tomorrow as we discuss What If.
Will Raven's head explode?
What if Raven's head explodes? We're gonna have to talk about that now. All right. Oh man, and of course, for whatever reason, I thought something was on this. It's not, so as usual, my computer's being futzy. Let's see what it's doing. That's what it's. So where would it be then? It's not there.
And if you've ever thought, if you've ever read Marvel comics and thought that bald baby face buffoon Uatu, like he just sits there, does nothing, all he does is watch, it's kind of creepy. You need to watch the What If series because it kind of like turns your expectations upside down.
Yeah, it does. I'm just trying to find I had it and then it disappeared on me. It's not there. When I find it, I'm gonna put it in a separate box so I know where it's at from now on. Okay, let's see. It's not there. Okay. You want to come on? Yeah, what? What? You want to say hi to everybody? Come on. Here he is, everybody.
The Midnight Monster.
I'm amazed he stayed away this long. All right. Okay. Now. What do you want?
We're gonna have to make up a little skit with him, like as Godzilla walking through, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
the Void returns.
Yeah. Nope, it's not there. It's over here. Nope. What did I do with it?
Couldn't find it last week. Couldn't find it Tuesday either.
Yeah, I know. I find it when it's not on here, and when I go to put it back on, it disappears on me. So anyway, if you want to reach me, Quoth the Raven LBR72 at gmail.com. You can reach John at Great Figaro at Hotmail, and the CMY Kisher at Christopher M. Hall at 1973 at gmail.com. We'll talk to you next week. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
Nevermore.